And good evening and welcome to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. My guest this evening is Ray Andrewsen, who's General Manager and Morning Show host of AM 1220 WQN. Ray, welcome. How are you, my friend? Good to see you again.
Great to see you again, too, Pete.
I figure we do this a couple times a year, so this must be the summer version because we're both in short sleeves and khaki pants.
You know, it's interesting. Our station of license is in Hamden. We're wearing Hamden colors tonight.
I know we are.
We have the green and
the
gold.
yellow. That's right.
Yeah, the green and yellow.
Right.
So this is Hamden.
This is Hamden. There you go. So how you been? What's going on at the radio station?
Well, a lot. This has been a great year for us here.
Good.
Since we talked last time.
Yep.
WQUN has, of course, become a hit station from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Right.
So a lot of the songs that a lot of people grew up with in that era, everything from the Beatles, the Beach Boys, to the Supremes, right up to Donna Summer and the music from the 70s as well. All that's there with KCK's American Top 40. We're now doing the Top 40.
That's right.
It seems every day. So it's a lot of great range of music, too. Plus, we haven't touched anything with our local news. Our award-winning local news is still there. So the station is still roaring and active.
Very good, very good. And you guys are celebrating, are you guys into your 21st year yet? Or
21 years. We have to get new mugs.
20?
Yeah.
That's right.
Because we had the 20-year mugs. Now we have to get 21-year mugs.
Oh, boy.
So that's next.
All right.
But it's been great to have some local stars, very recognizable names, who are on a radio station now. Pam Landry, if you many people remember the Blue Plate special that was on WPLR for many years.
Yeah.
And also Brian Smith, who was part of Smith and Barber for many years on another station in New Haven.
I met Brian last time I was there, as a matter of fact.
Well, Pam is still doing lunch there with us.
I was going to say, I saw Pam last time I was there.
And we don't know what we to call Brian's show because we can't really call it dinner with Brian because it's not that hour.
No.
And I think 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it's not appropriate to say cocktails with Brian. So we have to come up with some type of food theme for him.
Happy hour.
Well, it's an early happy hour with him.
All right, fine.
So it's not really, we can't say nachos with Smith.
No.
That doesn't really
we'll figure it out.
We'll figure
it out.
But he'll work on that. But it's great to have him there and the rest of our crew.
I was going to say, speaking of award-winning news, you guys even have a news director.
Yes, Greg Little.
Old what's his name?
Greg Little. He's been there 20 years along with me doing the mornings and covering our local area, New Haven, state coverage as well. We're members of the Connecticut Radio Network, so we also have state coverage there. And
absolutely.
Partner with Channel 3, WFSB, which is our TV news partner.
Yeah.
It's an energized news department. We also have our midday anchor, Bob Mortali, who performs many roles at WQUN, and also Mike Lyle in the afternoons this season.
I met Michael last time I was there, too.
Yeah, so we're busy in our little radio station, and the big news we had this past spring was the great news that the voters in the CT Now poll in Connecticut voted us best radio station in New Haven. And we're very proud of all of that.
That's right. And I even voted in that poll.
Yeah, you know, it's great. We actually, we did do a very sophisticated ballot entry, which we actually called some of our friends over in the former Soviet Union and Russia, and sought some help to give us some expert advice on voting trends, ways to influence elections.
Right.
And it's great. Unfortunately, all of our listeners now have spam in their and their hard drives are all shot.
Exactly.
So, well, they'll help them out.
And the really cool thing about the station that many people don't know is you guys actually have an app that you can listen on your smart device and your mobile phone, and you can also throw a request in.
You know what's great is your studio, which is a beautiful studio here. You're about a block or two, actually a block from the beach, from the water.
Yeah.
You're near water's edge, and what's wonderful about this is you can go down to the beaches along Long Island Sound, and just like you did in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, you took a transistor radio,
put it up to your ear,
you have an app. Only have earbuds now, and you can take us anywhere you go.
That's right.
The beauty of an app is you can take us all around the world, anywhere you want to be. You can take us to the ball games. You can take us. You can go to an art museum.
Yeah.
Keep it quiet. Look at the art and
just
put the earbuds in there, and enjoy all the music and all the news that we have to offer. So it's great modern technology. It really is, and the app. Is kind of fun to look at too.
It is. I looked at it the other day. I think you got a request from me the other day.
Yes, I did.
I was going to say yes, you did, because I heard my name.
And your request to me was, Ray, please go home.
No, it wasn't Ray. No, it wasn't Ray, please go home.
I forgot what your request was.
I don't remember, but we'll figure that out.
Oh, it was Erestul
Yes,
by Moshe Dadis.
that's what it was.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Because, what is it? Water is 2. Actually, I think water is 3.
Yeah.
Right. Fire was 5.
5, right?
Erestul.
There you go. And they don't serve that at Glenwood.
No.
No, that doesn't come on the hot dog.
That's true.
All right.
Your next question, sir.
Yeah. Before I go out on a tangent. Now, you're also on the board of directors for the Connecticut Broadcasters Association.
That's right.
What exactly do you guys do?
Well, actually a lot.
All right.
We lobby on behalf of our industry. And a lot of things that we lobby on is not just our industry or on behalf of our industry. We lobby on behalf of consumers.
Yeah.
Because we obviously want to
saying.
make access to terrestrial radio and also to television and our industry and our local stations accessible to be able to provide excellent news coverage. Our local television stations, we're staffed by all the general managers of the local TV commercial outlets here in the state. Many local radio general managers and owners of those properties, people who are in other broadcast outlets like ESPN, which is Connecticut based in Bristol.
That's right.
Also serve on this board. We offer scholarships to very worthy students here in Connecticut who are applying to a accredited 4-year broadcast or communications college or university. And we review those applications very seriously every spring. We award them. We do introduce the students. They come to our big convention, which we'll have on October 11th this year in the state. And we will introduce these students as well. We're very serious and very committed to these students. We want them to be able to take their passion and also take their scholarship money and go forward with their education.
Right.
And we are proud to mentor those students. And also, we are proud to partner with other entities like the National Guard, the Connecticut National Guard here in this state, which is a wonderful job of call-ups. We just had tornado damage in our home,
I was going to say, we'll talk about that
town
too.
of License in Hamden, but even in Western Connecticut, the Connecticut National Guard came out and did a lot of work in Brookfield, Newtown, and also Bethany and other locations around the state. And we're so proud through our own efforts on television and radio with our commercials, or actually I should say our public service announcements, that we do serve the Guard and they do serve us very effectively.
Now, how did the town of Hamden fare during what the National Weather Service did categorize it as a tornado?
Well, it was a frightening afternoon. It happened about 5:15 in the afternoon on May 15th, and there were tornado warnings. So the warnings were already out there for northern New Haven County.
Yes.
And also, there were parts of the state near the New York border in the Hudson Valley that had already received severe damage from wind. So we knew something was coming our way. And a lot of people didn't hear a lot of lightning and thunder in the beginning. Usually that's the forerunner of a bad storm. You'll see a lot of lightning, hear a lot of thunder, hear a little distant thunder, but this remarkable cloud came right at us.
Oh, yeah.
And many people, and there was quite a photograph of a young woman who was actually caught up in the castle on the top of Sleeping Giant State Park and took a photograph that looked like a bomb had landed just west of Sleeping Giant, but that bomb was advancing, and that was the F1 tornado. It did considerable damage in the Westwood neighborhood, Gaylord Mountain Road area, along northern Hamden. Sleeping Giant State Park was really devastated. The Quinnipiac University campus got a lot of damage as well, and a lot of other places in that area. And also went over towards North Haven and Wallingford, which has not been reported as much as it should, because some neighborhoods in those communities were hard hit as well. So a lot of cleanup, a lot of chainsaws, a lot of tree companies are still out there, thankfully, and really thankfully. Nobody was killed. No notable or serious injuries with this storm, and I think that's really a blessing.
It is. It's really a blessing, especially what happened. Now, do you think that Sleeping Giant's going to be able to open and operate this summer, or?
Probably not, Pete. No? I think that there's just too much damage, and I think many trees are still in that precarious position where they've been structurally damaged, but they haven't fallen over. Or branches as well.
Gotcha.
And I think what they really want to do is they want to make sure that some trees that may have been leaning or may have had its root system torn just a little bit, that they can determine the structural integrity of those trees before people walk in the paths of these trees. A couple of trees have come down afterwards. People have reported that trees that were leaning or didn't appear to be all that damaged, in just light wind, came down.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be at least until the fall. I'm not a spokesman for Sleeping Giant Park Association or for the state, any state department that is working on this, but I would imagine towards the fall and towards the end of the year, they'll get that back up on its feet.
Exactly. Now, how has the broadcasting industry changed over the years?
Oh.
Yeah.
This is a half-hour program.
This is a half-hour program.
Did you want a series, a mini-series?
No, give me a...
Dramatically changed recently because of what you have with your laptop, and that's the app. So a lot more people for radio, and I'll speak to the radio side at this point, are taking their audio where they go. The dashboard is changing on our cars, but radio still has very large penetration around the United States, and it's estimated on a weekly basis at least 250 million Americans will listen to radio for at least 5 minutes. So that's a very large amount of American. That's about 80% penetration that people will access radio in some meaningful way. And that includes all AM, FM signals. And they can do that through some means, not just through terrestrial signals, getting it on their radio or on their car dashboard, wherever, but also through an app or streaming it online. So radio still is getting to people. Television is still getting to people. The thing that's changed dramatically now, of course, in terms of television and radio, is there are a lot more choices.
Oh yeah, totally.
And also people can choose their listening times. And podcasts have changed how certain shows have been able to be accessed as well. So if you can't hear that 1 hour talk show or news block, you could take it as a podcast later on and download it. So the whole way the industry is working now is changing.
Exactly. And actually with everything going on at the university, you guys actually have a new president coming in.
That's right. She's coming from UCLA, where she was the dean of the Andrewsen School of Business, Judy Olian. She will start. In fact, as we're taping this evening, we're having our final warm wishes, our send-off for President John Leahy, who has been president of Quinnipiac University for 31 years.
Nice.
And he has done a remarkable job growing the school up to 10,000 graduate and undergraduates and 9 schools. It's remarkable. All the graduate schools, medical school, the engineering school, School of Business, School of Law. It is a dynamic place and has become a dynamic place to work and to go to school now. And John is retiring.
Yes.
God bless him.
I
and
know.
We're going to miss him terribly after 31 years.
Exactly. Ray, would you mind sticking around for another segment?
I'll be here.
We'll be right back.
I'm Howard Schwartz, Executive Communications Director at your Better Business Bureau serving Connecticut with the Consumer Moment. We now use the internet to make more purchases than ever before. But if you're looking for a business that offers trustworthy goods and services, try to stay local. Word-of-mouth recommendations are very helpful, but a service provider is only as good as his or her last job. Management can change, so can the employees. Always ask for references, recent references, and visit bbb.org to see what other consumers' experiences have been like. You can look up a business review or select a BBB-accredited business that is devoted to our standards for trust. The bottom line is that the marketplace is in your hands. Take your time, do your research, and use your power as a consumer to get what you want. This Consumer Moment is brought to you by your Better Business Bureau serving Connecticut.
And welcome back to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show, sitting here with Ray Andrewsen from AM 1220 WQUN. Ray, welcome back.
Good to be here.
Good to see you. So I asked the question as we were going into the break, but I'm going to maybe ask the question again and we can follow up with a little bit longer of an answer. What's outgoing Quinnipiac University President John Leahy, what's he like?
Well, John grew up in New York.
Okay.
And I say that, and people hear that, and they start to chuckle a little bit, like, "Oh, that explains everything, doesn't it?"
Yeah, right.
Well, not really.
No.
But John's the kind of guy that, like the city of New York, I think of the city of New York in the 1970s. I think of when it was almost bankrupt, when the city was imploding, the Bronx was burning.
Yes.
It was an era when people were really virulently anti-New York, anti-urban. Remember Ford to city, drop dead,
Yep.
that headline. John came from the city and is the proud son of an Irish immigrant.
Okay.
And his father was a stonemason.
Gotcha.
It was a tremendous layer of bricks. Could put up a beautiful brick wall or building in no time. Tremendous. And like most immigrants, very determined, very proud, and and wanting to succeed. I think John took a lot of those characteristics from that era when things weren't particularly going well in New York, and he thinks like a New Yorker, and I mean that in the best and proudest sense.
Okay.
He thinks big because he wants to win big. He wants
Yes.
to succeed.
Right.
He wants people to share in that success as
Okay.
well. So I often think of his presidency over 31 years
Right.
as a person who, if you told him, well, I don't think you can do it,
Right.
I think John would find a way
to
to
get
do
it
it.
done. All right.
And I say that affectionately and proudly because I have taken that type of outlook into how I manage the radio station as a
Right.
general manager, and that is, it's a challenging era for many standalone AM radio stations or broadcasters in general.
Right.
But I think if you tell us, well, we can't grow a little radio station, we can't become a community resource or a community force
Right.
of nature, I'm going to prove you wrong.
Exactly.
And it's that can-do spirit, that sense of getting the university out there and growing, that has been his legacy. And I think the inspiration of his leadership comes from the fact that many of us would always think he would stop somewhere along the line in that growth. And I recall when we still had one campus, not three.
That's right.
We still had
That's
a
right.
handful of schools. The law school was there. We had just renovated the Arnold Bernhard Library. And we had the radio station. We all thought, well, this is it.
Yeah,
He
right.
did his work. Then came Division I school. Then came the transition from college to university,
Right.
July 1st of 2000.
Okay.
And then came, of course, the addition of a second campus in the Rocky Top campus where the athletic facility is located. And then the North Haven
Yes.
campus. Brilliant masterstroke deal where Quinnipiac purchased the property that Anthem Blue Cross owned.
Yep. Yeah,
And
right
leased
on
it
Blue
back
Cross campus.
as they were slowly going to downsize that facility and put their jobs in other locations. A great masterstroke to have another campus, 3 locations for the university. And anything that grows, there's a little bit of maybe a little struggle or maybe a little friction because of the growth.
Right.
So Hamden and North Haven, to a degree, have had to adapt to being a college town now, a true college university town. And if you look across the country, the communities that thrive, New Haven is a great example of this, the communities that do better than other communities tend to be those places that have colleges and universities.
Right.
They're more affluent, their school systems tend to be better achieving, and also everything from the value of homes to recreational and cultural amenities, restaurants. These communities tend to be vibrant. Think about Ithaca, New York. Think about Hanover, New Hampshire, where
Right.
Dartmouth is located.
Yes.
Think of any college town, Austin, Texas, where University of Texas is. And that's what Quinnipiac has brought to Hamden and to North Haven. And now Judy Olean, who will be
Is this the new president?
the new president coming in as of July 1st of this year,
Yeah.
has seen that at work. She is a native Australian.
Ah.
So I don't know if our first gift would be give her a Vegemite sandwich when she comes on campus, or a
Maybe.
didgeridoo. But she's very proud of her Australian heritage. She was actually born in Poland.
Really?
And so she's got this wonderful worldview. And she comes from UCLA. She's been at other prestigious universities around the country in her path. So she's coming here to be a president. And this is her first presidency. And I hope WQUN and many others too will be a long-standing friendship and partnership with the new president as she comes in here and gets to know the community very well.
Have you met her yet?
I have not met her personally. I've been in a large group environment where she was introduced.
Ah, gotcha.
But she's beginning over time to learn the ropes. And she's not here formally yet as of this
July 1st,
conversation.
she said.
So she will be here, and she will be able to meet everybody over
Very nice.
a period of time.
Speaking of WQUN Radio and all the wonderful people that are behind the scenes, I said to you during the break, I had a mutual friend of ours on with me not long ago, Bill Schweitzer.
Yes.
I had Bill on with me about a month ago.
Oh, baby. as
What a
he
great
would say.
guy.
He is.
What a great guy.
Bill's a dear friend and a great.
Bill's awesome.
He is awesome, and I once told him, and I sincerely mean this. Bill could read the Manhattan telephone book to me when we had telephone books,
Right.
And I'd listen. He has a great way with his voice of describing what he's seeing. He's excellent at baseball play-by-play, which he's not doing as he once did.
No,
Wonderful
that's
at hockey. The Quinnipiac Bobcats hockey, it's very tough to hockey. That puck doesn't stop. It just moves
doesn't.
around.
No.
So you are following everything, and you're on it, you're on it, you're on it. And of course, he does basketball, and his cohort for many years has been Bill Mecca.
Bill Mecca, that's right. Yeah.
Who's the assistant athletic director. And Bill's a wonderful, sweet, iconic figure on the Quinnipiac campus.
I've never met Mr. Mecca.
I think he's not only respected, but he's beloved. I mean, he's been there as a coach. He's been there in the athletics department for many, many years. He has survived a few health scares graciously and with tremendous enthusiasm and optimism. He's a great guy to be around. So I'm glad that he's not retiring. Bill is retiring after 21 years at the helm of Bobcats broadcasts and a distinguished career with CBS Radio.
Yeah.
And also, many people don't remember, was also the voice of UConn football and basketball time in the 80s.
He actually told that story.
Called the Villanova Championship back in 1986, and was also a television sports anchor on WTNH, Channel 8.
That's right. Speaking of sports, we're going to stay on the sports aspect of things for a couple minutes. Let's talk about Quinnipiac sports.
Yes.
Yeah. Where do you want to start? You want to start girls basketball? Or?
Yes, let's start right there.
Guys basketball, all right.
Well, there's plenty of places to start. I think what's exciting at Quinnipiac is the women's basketball program now is really close to a top 25 program in the country. It's been the top 10 for mid-majors for a while.
Totally.
And Trish Fabry has been patient. Again, it takes time to build a program.
Yes.
She's done this for about 20 years.
Okay.
And over time, she has built the program up to national stature. And that's very evident. We have Baker Dunleavy has done a good job in his first year as the new coach of the men's team. The Dunleavy family, that's a pedigreed sports family in basketball. They're very well known. Tall guy, 6'5", he knows what he's doing.
All right.
And the team has responded. It's not showing up this first year in wins and losses, but Jim Calhoun, when he came to UConn, won 9 games and lost 19 games in his first year.
That's correct.
And he was turning things around, and people know and respect what's being done already. And the hockey programs, men's and women's programs, speak for themselves in terms of their success. Getting to 2 national championships, as the men have done under Rand Pecknall, is a remarkable accomplishment. So it's a lot of fun to be around Quinnipiac sports.
Who's the women's hockey coach? You don't know?
The problem with it, he just held up a different card there. Yeah, but it didn't say the women's hockey coach.
No, it did. No, it did.
I apologize.
No, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, don't know. I'll start with an even easier question. What's the men's hockey coach like?
Well, he is, who is not the women's hockey coach.
No, that's right.
Rand's been there for 21 years. And I remember go back to the days when we were playing in the old East Haven rink. I mean, it was a glorified community rink.
Okay.
And then the Northford Ice Pavilion, and then where we are now, which is the People's Bank Arena up on the top of the hill.
That's right.
And People's Bank is now our sponsor.
It's no longer the other bank.
Right. So he has been able to recruit. He's been able to work that program, move that program along from its infancy. And I think that's the beauty, to go back to discussing what it's been like to work at Quinnipiac. We're not inventing all of our sound bites here. We're not speaking from bullet points. No. This is all heartfelt and observable and documentable.
Exactly.
That we have taken our institutions, by and large, around the campus, and many of us in athletics, whether it's in various deans in various schools, whether it's the facilities department and building and beautifying, whether it's a radio station, whether it's the Ireland Great Hunger Museum or Ireland Great Hunger Institute. We all like to put our stamp on things. We have a culture of building and doing better. And I think that's obvious in our sports programs as they're starting to become nationally ranked and great stature in many cases.
Exactly. And you guys, and you and I have a couple things in common, but one thing in common that we have that one thing we thrive on is serving the community.
Yes.
Let's talk about community service with WQUN Radio and how important it is to give back to the community.
Well, you're a community broadcaster.
Yeah.
And I think I admire what you do because I think it's important that people from the community get to be in a television setting to talk about what they do.
What's going on.
So I think I'll speak for everyone who watches. We appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
Appreciate what you've done for Ronald McDonald House. I go back when you used to do things with the Clinton Bluefish Festival.
That's right.
So we go back to that. And you are always there in the mix. I derive a lot of pleasure by doing things in the community. I watch very little, commercial television broadcasters whom I serve with on the
Yes.
I'm not a big consumer of media, ironically, even though I'm in media.
Right.
I like a lot of news. I'm a news junkie.
Right.
But I don't tend to watch a lot of
news
programs. I watch the news, but I don't watch programs, and I'm really a big consumer of shows or movies or anything. But I love being with people, doing things with people, and it feels good to help out my neighbor, and it feels good to be able to bring those types of broadcasters to the microphones. And I think that's why we've won our awards. I think that's why we've been voted best radio
there you go.
in New Haven in the CT Now poll.
One thing we got to talk about, because we got a little bit more time left. Nancy Falcone retired.
Yes, our secretary after 20 years.
I
God
know.
bless her. Yep. And
who's in?
Mary Kate Bizdura is our new face and voice when you come to WQUN. She's had a long, distinguished career working with the New Haven Register. She's been with the New Haven Symphony Orchestra. We have a great staff. I'm really happy that she's there. And God bless Nancy. It was 20 years of
Yeah, I know.
service.
Nancy was always fun with me when I'd walk in the door.
Yeah.
You here to see Ray? Yep. All right. Can I get you a cup of coffee? Sure. All right. Sit down. All right. Fine. And then the news guy would see the top of my head sitting there, and he'd come out and say hello. But you guys are awesome. You guys give a lot back to the community. Ray Andrewsen from WQUN Radio, thanks for coming down. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you, Peter.
Thanks, buddy. On behalf of Ray Andrewsen, I'm Pete Mezzetti. Thanks, good night, and we'll see you next time.